Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Maroon Devil Coaches Show. Coach Sherman Holt is here, and believe it or not, he's got his shorts on, and I can't believe it, Coach. It's 29 degrees outside, and when we go back with our longtime Maroon Devil football fans, we got a lot of fans who just live for this kind of weather when it gets cold and frost on the pumpkin and all that kind of stuff. But this really, I think, brings out a lot of Maroon Devil fans and get ready for Friday night, and it's a good time of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, you always like when it gets a little colder and, your kids, this time of year they're in shape, and so that cold weather comes and, it's getting ready to become a playoff time and you kind of start kicking in and you want to get better and, just be clicking on all cylinders. So glad it's a little colder today.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure these players love the fact that it's not 80 degrees outside and they're out there dying in that heat. So talking about our players, I know Gabe came in and played quarterback last week. Reese, not exactly 100% physically. Are all our guys kind of coming around? I know this time of the year everybody's dinged up a little. But how are our guys physically as we get ready for this last stretch of the season?
Well, we tried to rest Reese last week a little bit, and we think, we're getting him back, more towards 100%. And, we felt like we'd tried to use him, and his ankle wasn't getting any better. And so we just said, we're going to rest him, and maybe a week off will help him. And Gabe did a good job, stepping in and, filling that role. And, we did some things offensively that, at times looked really, really good. And so that was good for us to get a little bit of momentum there. But as far as physically, I think our kids are good. We lost Ben Payne with an ACL a couple weeks ago, and got a couple guys that are actually going to the doctor today from Friday. One of them's got a shoulder and then another knee. And so we're starting to see that, attrition a little bit. Yeah. Don't think that those guys are going to be out for Friday, but just precautionary measures. And so we're fairly healthy. We got a couple guys that are dinged up, might be just a little sore or might have, some bruises here and there. But for the most part, we're fairly healthy.
Yeah. Coach, coming into this game, and Robbinsville, of course, got dismantled by Murphy last Friday, and they had some kids out, just to, be honest. So I know that hurt them some. But looking at Murphy, they really, I think, showed Robbinsville something that not many people have seen this year. They had such a balanced attack. I know Cole Laney, their quarterback, who wears number 14, our fans will see him. He threw for over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. Their outstanding running back, Hunter Stalkup, our fans will see him. He wears number 28. He ran for over 300 yards. And, wow, that really surprised me to see those kind of numbers against a really good Robbinsville defense. So, obviously, they had something going last Friday.
Yeah, you turn on the film and you look at what Murphy was able to do against Robbinsville, and the one thing I'll say is they're really good up front on offensive line and defensive line, and their back, the Stalkup kid, he does a real good job of just following his blockers. It kind of reminds you of old school running backs. He'll get on their hip and he'll put his hand on their back and he just kind of hides, and then when he sees a little daylight, he gets out. And Murphy done a real good job against Robbinsville of just staying with what they always do, and eventually they would get those big plays. And it's like I say every week, we got to eliminate the other team's big plays. And so for us coming in, looking at Murphy, they've gotten better every week. I think they've been dinged up and had some guys get injured, and I think that might have maybe help them a little bit, just because now they know who's going to get the ball, and might make the play calling a little easier, not trying to spread it out as much. And quarterback's playing real good for them, takes care of the football, and he can throw it a mile. It's one of those things where our DBs are going to have to be real good this week and stay in coverage, and so they present a lot of challenges for us. And so we had a good practice yesterday, and just getting our kids to focus and buy into, what we're doing is always going to be our goal. And so good practice yesterday to start the week off.
Yeah. Coach, I know this is your first year on the Smoky Mountain Conference as we get ready for Murphy this Friday, then Cherokee to wind up the regular season. And maybe some of our players as well who haven't played as much in this conference. But I think a lot of people realize, wow, this conference is tough every Friday night. I mean, you came from a tough conference. You saw that there, but this conference is unique, and there are no gimmies, are there? You got to show up every Friday and bring your A game.
Yeah, I've said that from the beginning. I think this is one of the toughest conferences in the state.
Yeah.
From the physicality standpoint. There's always people that probably got kids that run faster than our kids, or they might be bigger, but if you're in the SMC, every week you got to line up. They're going to come at you, or you're going to come at them, and going to be very physical. And you just got to be able to stay healthy for one, and then just the mental aspect of it, of being ready to play a tough physical football game. And our kids have done a real good job of that. Last couple of weeks we've kind of, you look at them in the huddle, and sometimes you think, are we a little mentally unprepared, or are we getting mentally exhausted? Because we've had a tough schedule. I don't care. We play Smoky Mountain, Franklin, Pisgah, Dade County. That's 4 really tough non-conference games that were physical. Those teams would rival the physicality that we see every week in SMC, and that's one reason why we like playing them, is because we get ready for our conference. When we've kind of struggled a little bit offensively, and just not able to finish drives. We had a drive, 2 drives Friday that we come down on the first drive after Hayesville scores, and we get inside, I think, the 25, and then we have a negative play, we have a penalty. We have a miscue in the backfield on the pitch relationship, and then we miss on a ball to our tight end, and it turns into an interception. And so we've really started trying to tell those kids and preach to our kids that every time we get to football, we got to probably go make something happen. We had 2 possessions in the first half. Hayesville had 3. We didn't have many more in the second half, and so our kids, trying to make them understand that we have to finish those drives. Can't be good 20-20. We got to get inside the 20, go get in the red zone, score. And so for us, that's going to be a big emphasis for us this week, because Murphy can score some points, and we're going to have to score some points too.
No doubt about it, Coach. You talked about Murphy's ability on the offensive line. Obviously, our offensive line is going to have to do that same thing. We've got to be able to control that line of scrimmage against a Murphy team and keep their offense off the field and get some drives, don't we?
Yeah, our challenge up front this week, we've kind of moved some people around up front and to get some sort of stability going with that group, and they work hard. And we've struggled at times up front, but last week I think we played a whole lot better up front than we had previous couple of weeks. And so for us, it's when we have the ball, we can't go 3 and out. We got to keep it, and we got to make something happen at the end of those drives, and really not kicking a field goal. We got to go score some points. And so that's our challenge offensively this week, is just finish drives, take care of the football. We had 3 turnovers last week, and that's kind of been our Achilles heel.
Yeah.
And we've put a lot of emphasis on that in practice. And when we fumbled, we was like on the 15-yard line. So we gotta finish those drives and get points, because we don't want to be behind the 8 ball and be having to do something that we don't want to do offensively, which is put it in the air. We want to run the football. And so for us, it's just preaching to our kids, take care of the ball, finish the drives, do your 111th, and let's execute.
Yeah. Coach, we like to hang our hat, as we have a lot this year, on our defense. When you look at Murphy, especially what they did last Friday, they throw it and they run it, so they have a balanced attack. So our guys, especially in the secondary, from the linebackers back, they're really going to have to really play their assignments if Murphy continues that 2-pronged attack, aren't they?
Yeah, one thing with our defense the last couple of weeks that we mentioned it to them yesterday in film is we've got to start getting some turnovers.
Right.
We did that earlier in the year. We was giving up, I think around 11 points a game in the first 6 ball games, and the last 2 we've give up an average of 29. Part of that was field position in the Andrews game. We just put our defense in a tough situation, but at some point, our defense has got to say, instead of getting third and long, getting off field, making them punt, let's just go take the ball back, and so we got to get back to that, causing some fumbles, causing some havoc, rallying to the football, tackling well. Our tackling Friday fell off a little bit and wasn't pleased with that. So yesterday we spent a lot of time tackling and pursuing the football defensively, because it's going to be tough for our kids against a good Murphy offense that I think's just gotten better every week. They're kind of clicking on all cylinders, and we'll have to hunker down. We're going to have to play our gap sound football up front. Secondary's going to have to stay in their zone, play their people, and linebackers going to have to help underneath. But it's just football's not changed. It's still blocking, tackling, catching, running, throwing. I mean, it's all the same. It's going to be that way. And so for us, just concentrating on how can I be the best football player I can be on Friday night. So doing the little things right in practice, focusing on that technique, and just rallying to the football. We hadn't done that the last couple of weeks, and we've really made that a big focus yesterday.
Yeah, fans. Obviously, our fans realize it's Murphy, and I know it's not David Gentry against Coach Dietz or Coach Rod White or Coach Patillo or Coach Blankenship. A lot of those faces are gone, but it's still Swain versus Murphy, and our fans, I don't know what it is, but we just kind of seem to get up a little more for Murphy than we do anybody else in the conference. So obviously, it's going to be a fun game. Our fans get into it, and I think the players do too.
Yeah, I hope so. It's our kids. They've not had any problem getting up for a game, I don't think. And this week being Murphy, when I first got here back in March, I heard a lot about Murphy, and I think the first baseball, softball game I went to was Murphy baseball, softball game.
Yeah.
And I think there was more people at those games than I'd seen at some football games at other places. Yeah. And so anytime you play Murphy, our people, they want to go out there and get the win, play good, play hard. It's a big rivalry, and I know for the Murphy folks, it's the same way.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting to just play in a league where every week is a big game.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody. Our kids, we give them the game plan yesterday in our film session, and it has the starting people for Murphy on offense and defense, and they knew who all they were. We didn't even have to give it to them. They was naming them. They knew how big they were. Some of them knew how many yards they already had or how fast they run the 40 in. So it's one of those things. Our kids know them. They know us, and so it's good to be able to get in a game, and the rivalry atmosphere is always good to have because it helps you motivate your kids to be ready to play.
No doubt. Fans, that's the way it's going to be. We got 2 big rivalry games coming up to wind up this regular season. Murphy this Friday. Then we go to Cherokee, another big rivalry game coming up next Friday. So we hope our fans are going to come out and, hey, get your cold weather gear if we need it, depending on how cold it's going to be. But it's always great for Maroon Devil football. Keep it right here on the Maroon Devils Network.